Okay.
Oh, I love it. Leave it, leave it. Good vibes, good vibes.
We are live on Facebook. We are live on the Zoom. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening,
Good
everybody.
morning,
Uh,
everyone.
I am here with my beautiful business partner from Startup Pro, the founder of Starter Business LLC, beautiful Miss Lenka Brady. Good morning,
Hi.
good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening, everyone from Orlando, Florida, from Mineola. Actually, we just moved. It's been a beautiful day here. I hope you are all waking up to a beautiful, beautiful day in Australia and New Zealand. And I hope you all had a wonderful day here on the US coast.
Good. And we have a few people jumping on the live Zoom with us. Good afternoon. Good morning, John. Good morning, Stephanie. Good afternoon.
Hello, John.
So thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you that are watching the live on Facebook, if you're watching us live, simply comment live. And if you're watching a replay, simply comment replay and just simply let us know where in the world you are dialing in from, and what you're looking forward to learning from this webinar. And hopefully we'll answer some of those questions for you. So today's training, we really wanted to come and share some information, and some powerful strategies to hopefully help you take ownership of your future. And we want to really help people, go from survival to success. And this is such a powerful topic and something that's close to both our hearts, myself and Lenka. Is every single day we see people out there struggling. In our society today alone, so many people are living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are under some financial stress, worrying about their future. And a lot of people are out there, really sort of, starting to become more concerned about how do they create more freedom and more independence in their future. So I hope that we can answer some of your questions today. So if you are watching the live, simply let us know where you're coming in from. So I wanted to firstly ask a question, and if you're joining us live or if you're watching the recording, simply take a moment to reflect on this and ask yourself this question: what is your current reality? And it might be that you are currently living paycheck to paycheck. And what that means is, you look forward to payday every single week, or every single month, and you're literally just getting by and waiting for that paycheck to come each month. Or perhaps you've got, some financial stress or anxiety going on behind the scenes, worrying about how you're going to pay your bills when they come in. Or you might also be in the situation where perhaps you've got very limited savings, or perhaps you don't have emergency funds. So that's fine, John. Thank you very much for being here and joining us. If you've got any questions, by the way, if you're watching us live, feel free to type into the chat box and we'll answer them as we go as well. So ask yourself this question, what happens if your car was to break down tomorrow, or your hot water system on your home was to blow up? Do you have an emergency fund account, or does that put financial pressure on you and your families when, emergencies come through like that? Or are you struggling to pay for basic expenses in the household? Perhaps you're feeling stuck in a cycle of survival. I know, there you are, John. Hello. Thanks for joining us. So perhaps you're stuck in a cycle of just surviving, getting through week by week and just barely making expenses. Um, you know, it's possible that you're feeling a lack of financial freedom and flexibility. Perhaps you haven't been on a holiday for a long time. I know back in the day, people used to dream about going on a holiday or taking the kids to Disneyland. And with the cost of living nowadays, holidays have become a thing for many people that's not even on their radar anymore. They're just literally, struggling to get by. And so we see this every day. So I really wanted to ask you the question, where are you at currently? And it's important that a lot of people get really stressed out when they think about their finances, and a lot of people might just brush it under the rug and not even want to think about it, because let's face it, it can be quite scary, and it can be quite of a worry. Perhaps you're feeling that you have limited opportunities for personal or professional development. Maybe there's a course or a program that you've wanted to do for such a long time, and you just haven't had the financial capacity to invest in that. Perhaps you can't afford a gym membership even. So and for a lot of people, finances is something that puts a lot of strain and pressure on marriages and relationships. So ask yourself this question, is finances putting a strain or pressure on your marriage or your relationship? So 40% of Americans these days are struggling to pay their basic living expenses. They're struggling to put food on the table, struggling to pay for healthcare, struggling to pay their utilities bills when they come in. And many of them have little to no investments. And there's up to 12% of Americans that are actually relying on food stamps just to put food on the table each week. Now, that's a real concern when we think about what's happening in the bigger scheme of things. 55% of Australians are also under financial stress at the moment, and they're unable to cover basic living costs. We've seen homelessness go through the roof. We've got a rental crisis happening in Australia at the moment where, families can barely even afford to pay rent at the moment. So really, asking yourself this question, and, this is where we sort of want to face a bit of a reality strategy of where are we currently at right now. And there's no shame in this. It's just the way that society is. The cost of living is going up, like the rates are going up, and inflation is going up everywhere, and our wages aren't really matching that at the moment. So this is huge. Like 40 to 50% of people across the globe are struggling financially. 40% of the UK are struggling to pay their bills each week as well. So, and a lot of them are reaching out to charities or reaching out to, borrowing money just to get by at the end of the month before their next paycheck comes in. So just asking yourself the question, be honest with yourself, and this is private information for you, just to reflect on where are you currently at with your finances. And the next, where I really want to sort of, help you identify this for yourself is to identify what is it actually really costing you. So when we talk about financial stress and hardship and anxiety, that can actually impact our health at the physical level. So we can have stress-related illnesses, things like digestive issues, things like anxiety, depression, all of these things come up. Mental health challenges are huge when it comes to finances as well. Just bear with me, I'm grabbing some water. Poor physical health is another one. So I used to work in the health and fitness industry, and so many people used to share that they just couldn't afford to pay for a gym membership, or they would come with, injuries in their body, and they couldn't afford to have surgery, or they couldn't afford to go to a doctor or to fix themselves. Even I see families that can't afford to put braces on their children's teeth. Nowadays, a set of braces is like $10,000. And I know families who have braces for their children on payment plans, and they're struggling to pay those bills. So ask yourself this question, it could be dental work, it could be, some health stuff that you're putting off just simply because you can't afford it right now. Relationships is a huge thing. So finances really can affect a relationship. So asking yourself the question, like, what is your financial situation doing to your relationship at the moment? Is it putting impact on your family dynamics even? Perhaps, your children, you can't afford to put your children into the sports that they want to play or extracurricular activities. Perhaps there's, arguments between the family. And it's really sad to see, I've seen family dynamics where, money is thicker than blood at times, and it's a really desperate situation when you see families fighting over money and finances. And it's not the world that we should be living in. And it's possible that you might feel that you're unable to support your children's needs, or you're feeling that you're unable to support others in the family as well. I've seen families, especially now we've got, lots of children that need extra support with learning disabilities and things like that. And a lot of parents can't pay for that treatment for their children. So what is that doing to their family dynamics as well? And what pressure does that put on the families? It's perhaps that you've got some missed opportunities, so missed out on investments or savings. Maybe you can't afford to attend outings with families and friends because of your financial situation, or perhaps you can't provide for special occasions. Perhaps, you weren't able to, support your loved ones when it was their birthday or something like that. So ask yourself, like, what is it actually really costing you by not having the financial freedom or flexibility that you like? And even worse again is perhaps you're just feeling trapped. Some people stay in a very unhealthy work environment because they feel like they don't have an option, or they need the money, so they stay there. And this is happening right across the globe. People are working in really unsupportive work environments, and bringing that home to their families. They hate their jobs, they don't like the place that they're working, but they feel stuck or trapped there because of a financial situation, and then they're bringing that energy home to their loved ones. And we see this happening quite a lot. Perhaps you feel like you're lost or lacking purpose because you don't have joy in what you do, Or some people are even, feeling so financially stuck that they're just losing hope altogether. Some people might be stuck in a financial relationship. So some people might be in a relationship because they can't afford to actually leave the relationship. And, I've seen this happen right across the globe as well. And it could be that you're stuck in a living situation due to financial hardship. Some people might be living with their family members, or staying stuck in a particular situation just because they've got a lack of financial freedom or flexibility. So really just be honest with yourself for a moment, is what is this actually costing for you, and where do you feel like this really is? And when we talk about the missed opportunities, about probably 5 years ago, you could, a young couple in Australia could purchase a new home for under $500,000. And now you can barely find a home, or you can barely get into the home market for, under $1 million or $1.5 million. And so what that's done for a lot of the next generation coming through is almost taken out their dream of, potentially owning their own home. And so it's really, invites the question, what is it that we really want to create for ourselves and our future? And so the next question is, what is it that you really want to create for yourself? And perhaps it's that you want to be debt free. Perhaps you don't want any mortgage, you don't want any credit cards, you don't want any loans, you don't want any debtors chasing you, you don't want to have payment plans out there. That's the first step, is becoming debt free. And then the next step is perhaps you want financial freedom. Maybe you're looking for more independence. Maybe you want to have a savings account. So when you see those beautiful holiday specials come up, fly for two, trip for two to Hawaii, perhaps you want a travel and travel account where you've got savings where you can take that holiday once a year. So it's really important to ask yourself, what does your dream future look like? And I love that you added that question, Lenka. What does your dream future look like? And I really invite you and encourage you to actually give yourself permission to dream, because if you're somebody who's stuck in a bit of a financial hardship moment, perhaps you've forgotten about your dreams. Perhaps you've given up hope on those dreams, and you're just feeling like you're in that cycle of feeling stuck. Perhaps you want an investment. Who here wants to own their own home? It's a dream for most people. Perhaps you want multiple income streams, or perhaps you want to be able to, plan your financial future and have savings, have that security. Maybe one of your dreams is early retirement. Maybe you've got a dream to, do the RV lifestyle and travel around with your loved ones. Whatever that looks like for you. And perhaps something that you might want is, feeling fulfilled and living your passion, your purpose, being able to expand on your genius zone and explore your skill set and be rewarded for your effort. And this is something that I speak to a lot of people around the globe who has been in a job before where you feel like, if I just keep working harder and do the extra hours, I'll get the promotion and I'll get the extra pay packet. And I went on that corporate climbing ladder for many, many years, and thought to myself, if I just work harder, they'll recognize my hard work. And I spent 10 years in the workforce, trying to climb the corporate ladder. And I realized the reality is, it didn't matter how much or how hard I worked. And I've got a very strong work ethic, but I soon realized it didn't matter how much effort I put in. I was just making somebody else the money, and that my income was going to be capped. And, I started a side hustle, and I ended up making more out of my side hustle than I was from my full-time job. And I went to my employer and I said, hey, how about a bit of a pay rise? And I asked him 3 times in 12 months and he wouldn't budge. And I just thought, well, I can't continue to stay there because I was obviously making more money in my side hustle. So hence, I started working for myself, which was lovely. But then, I got to pursue my passions in my careers and stuff like that. So asking yourself, are you being rewarded for your effort? If you've got a strong work ethic, what does that look like? And I was speaking to one of my clients yesterday, and she said how she worked for 10 years for a company. She did overtime, she did everything, and then she went on mat leave, and then her family dynamics changed and she couldn't go back to work. And she said that was it. They didn't contact her. The 10 years of service she did for that company, and how she helped build that company, and no one reached out to her, and there's no ongoing check or anything like that. So it's if you put 10 years of hard work into a business, trust me when I say this, you're going to be rewarded. You know, that's the beauty about having your own business, is you actually get rewarded for the efforts that you put in. So perhaps you want to create a legacy or leave a positive impact for your loved ones. You know, maybe you want to have more of an impact on the community as a whole. Maybe you want to contribute to something greater. So what is it that you really want to do? I invite you and encourage you to, you know, type in for you, what does that look like? What's your dream? What is it that you want to do? Maybe it's becoming financially free, or, you know, living more in your passion or your purpose. So give yourself a moment to reflect on that and ask yourself, what does that look like for you? And I want to share with you what some other people are doing out there to sort of give you a bit of an excitement. How many other people out there are having a side hustle? 45% of Americans have some form of side hustle or small business. That's nearly 50% of the population, which is a beautiful thing, because we know that it's possible and that so many people are doing it, right? 29% of people are under the age of 25. So it's actually a really, you know, growing trend amongst the younger population to become entrepreneurs and to start a side hustle or to start a business. So this is really exciting that the next generation that's coming through is really jumping on this bandwagon of wanting to create more freedom in their future. All of the above, financially free, having a greater impact. Yes, John, I love it. 50% of employment globally comes from small business. So by starting our own small businesses, we're actually helping to provide more work for other people. Lenka and myself, we have the Startup Pro company. We're so excited. We've got a VA who works for us. And Lenka, do you want to share a little bit about the program that we're doing with the uni students as well?
Can you repeat a bit what students again? I couldn't hear that, pardon me.
Did you want to share the, I think it's called the, is it the internship program?
Oh, yep, absolutely, absolutely. I was unclicking unmute, and that's when you said the word, so I couldn't hear you. But we are partnering with local colleges to bring on board a couple of interns to work with us on developing a program for college students and high school students, and to really help them understand what becoming an entrepreneur is all about. And as Julie has mentioned, 45% of Americans have other side hustles and things going on in their lives. And that's just because the reality here in the United States is that you almost have to have that multiple income stream to get your kids through college, to live a comfortable life, to be able to travel and do the things you really want to do. Some families have 2 or 3 income streams, and you know, it's just become a reality of life today. And so with the programs that we're now developing with Startup Pro is really tweaking them slightly into programs that are more relevant to the age groups, like even 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. We're now partnering with even kindergartens and daycares on helping bringing those programs to them. So our interns will basically do the market analysis for us and test the programs for us, and it's really helping them also understand or test the theory that they study in school and bring it into the workplace and see what it's like to actually hustle for the idea, or hustle for making that $1. So it's been really wonderful. We have some great feedback already, and partnering with other organizations here locally. So it is definitely a way of life now, and something that even the youngest generations are definitely interested in. Like, how do I start my own business? I don't want to necessarily be locked in a career for the next 10, 20, 30 years. If it's something as a supplemental, great, wonderful, but I really want to feel like I can self-realize myself, like I can do and contribute, like I can have the freedom of choice and decision. And so yeah, that's what we're working on, and really lots of interesting and exciting programs.
Mm, it's such a beautiful gift that, you know, when we start something for ourselves and we grow it, that we can actually help other people learn the skills and the tools that they need as well. And 35%, 37% of people that have side hustles or small businesses are that next age group of 25 to 40-year-olds. And so, it's great that, a lot of these people have a side hustle or a small business in addition to their job. Now, this can be one of two things, where there's a trend in more people wanting to enter the space of entrepreneurship, but it's also a trend of, people are needing a bit of a supplementation income as well. So, and something that's really cool is the golden age group is, people in the 55 to 65 age category. 24% of these older generation actually have side hustles, which is super cool to see this. And, we're in such a great age at the moment with technology, because we have access to things that, our predecessors did not. We have the World Wide Web, we have digital spaces, we have Zooms, we have the capacity to literally work internationally now, and we have access to the internet, which means we've basically got a wealth of information right at our fingertips anytime we want it. So I remember, and this is showing my age a little bit, I remember asking lots of questions when I was little, and my dad used to say, go get the dictionary, go get the dictionary. We never had Google, we never had the World Wide Web. And so if you wanted to know something, you either hoped that it was in the dictionary, or you hoped somebody in your local village knew the answer. And if they didn't, you'd just be left unknowingly for the next 20 years until maybe you left town and went to a big city or something like that. But now we literally have a wealth of information at our fingertips. So 33% of people across the globe have multiple streams of income, whether it comes from a side hustle, business, property, investments, freelance work. So it's really, it shows that a lot of people are doing it now. And so, we don't have to stay stuck. And that's the message that I really want to share today. If you are struggling financially, there's ways that you don't have to stay stuck. And this is clear indication that so many people across the globe are doing it. So I wanted to, share with you, how can you create this for yourself? And there's a couple of ways that you can do it: starting a side hustle or starting a business. Now, a side hustle can be anything from having an e-commerce, an online store, doing rideshare, Airbnb, Uber, tutoring, freelancing, MLMs, anything that brings in a supplement income. So perhaps you don't want to be in business for yourself. You don't want that. Maybe you just want to have a side hustle to give you a bit of extra freedom and flexibility in your current income. And there's lots of great different ideas out there for side hustles. MLMs are really good if, like a network marketing business, because they've already done the SOPs for you. They've already got the systems up in place. So if you're somebody that just wants to supplement your income a little bit, having a side hustle is a great idea. And Lenka and I help a lot of people, find clarity around what's their unique side hustle and how do they do that, really strategically and effectively. And it can be a great way to provide that supplement income. Or the other option is you can start a business for yourself. And this is something that I'm so super passionate about, and I know Lenka is as well. So I personally own 3 businesses, and I love it. I just love it. And it's become something that has been an evolution. So I started off with a side hustle. I used to supplement my income on the side. I started making good money out of it. It started to override the money that I was making from my full-time job. And then I jumped ship, and then I went full-time into that, and the rest was history. Basically, I haven't had a paycheck for nearly 10 years. So I haven't been paid a wage in nearly 10 years, and I've been able to fully fund myself. And then over time and over the evolution of my journey, now I've got 3 businesses, and I get to work with some amazing people across the globe, and we're doing bigger and better projects. So starting a business can be a very exhilarating journey. It can be exciting. You can have freedom, you can have flexibility. The one thing I love about being a business owner is it's the person that you become. So sometimes when we're stuck in a job, you have a unique role. You might be the accountant, or you might be the reception person, or you might be, the development manager. When you're in business, it can be a love-hate relationship, really, because you have to grow. You have to be very adaptable, very flexible. You often wear multiple hats. But the good thing about that is you learn to grow exceptionally as a person. You become a very adaptable, very flexible. You learn so many skill sets as a business owner, and you get to really network with a lot of other people. So you learn really quickly as a business owner how to multitask, how to do some amazing things, and you learn what you're not great at. You learn your own boundaries and limitations. Anything that you want to add to this, Lenka? Starting a business, being a business owner?
I just find it really fun experience. It is hard. It is really hard. But like you said, you realize your untapped potential. You get to really see yourself in a completely different light. And I know you'll touch on it, but if you have a strong mindset, business mindset, resilient mindset, you realize that really nothing is impossible, right? Or anything is impossible or possible, whichever way you look at it. So for me, it was an amazing journey to really see myself as someone I never thought I was capable of. And I became very, very proud. And now I reach for higher and bigger goals in life and also in business because now I've proven it to myself that I can. So that's the part for me that fulfills me and makes me feel really complete. And that's where I now give back to everyone else who has those dreams, but perhaps does not know if, is it, can I do this? Is it, something that I'm capable of doing? So that's that most really satisfying part for me of being a business owner and being doing that for quite some time. So yeah, for sure. I call it fun. It's hard work, but it's a lot of fun. It's really enjoyable.
And do you want to share, a bit about your story as to why you started, went into business for yourself? What was the reason for you why did you decide to go into business for yourself?
Sure. I had a very successful corporate career and almost 10 years in corporate, a great company. I was getting paid really well, great benefits, amazing team that I worked with. But I was depressed. I was really unhappy. And I couldn't initially figure out where my unhappiness was coming from. And it really wasn't until one day I was coming back from a funeral, and that was almost like a 3 hour drive. And I pulled up in front of my house back then, and I freaked out because I couldn't remember how I got home. And my head was so heavy and overloaded with thoughts and obviously emotions. I was coming back from a funeral, but I realized that I had to something had to change. That I was not only a danger to myself, I was a danger to everyone else out there. So I spent the whole weekend reflecting, and I really realized that it was coming back from the position I was in. I didn't have any time to myself. I couldn't get to see my family. I was working for a very intense corporate environment and I felt stuck in it. And even though I loved what I was doing and the people I was working with, I still wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. And so after soul searching and speaking to some friends of mine, I realized that I had to really do some changes. And I resigned. And I didn't have to worry back then about really losing my job. I don't want to portray myself as someone who made a radical change. I still had income. I was in a good place to change things in my life. However, I needed to walk away from the position and I needed to take some time to think and realize what was really important for me, align myself with my goals. And my goals were always to see my family and spend time with my family. And so I started looking for perhaps new job opportunities or my company that I formed back then that would allow me to really be the person that I wanted to be. I wanted to self-realize myself, but I also wanted that quality of time with my family that I was missing so much when I worked in corporate.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I really want to sort of, amplify or add on to that a little bit is I see a lot of people in, very high paid corporate careers and they are literally burnt out. Like, it's almost like they're selling themselves to that career. And if you are currently in a corporate role, you probably can relate to this. Is what I'm saying is I've seen so many people in high corporate, that bring home literally whatever's left of themselves. And I remember doing that. I remember, I was working on a job and it was quite a well-paying job. And I was a project manager working construction and I was running multiple projects. I had about 20 projects on the go at the time. And I was running, big teams of people. And, I was on salary. And if you've ever read an employment contract, on salary, there was a stipulation in my contract that said, the role is, roughly 40 hours a week, but your salary is you're required to do whatever it takes for that role and to be successful in that role. And I was working nearly 18-hour days. I remember I was living on 4 hours worth of sleep, and in the middle of the night, because I was running multiple projects, I remember I called it resting, not sleeping, because I would literally have my diary beside my bed, and I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and remember, oh, I've got to speak to that person about this job. And then I'd go back to resting. And then I was like, oh, and this person, I've got this, and I've got to call this truck. And if you've ever worked in construction, you know that they start very early. You've got trucks going out at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then, you're speaking to multiple project managers and supervisors. And I was bringing home whatever was left. And that's what my family was getting, that's what my loved ones were getting, and they were getting the tired, cranky, short version of myself, because I was so fast paced in my role that I had so much capacity already in my mind that when somebody was talking to me, I had my arms folded, I was tapping my foot at a very fast pace, hoping that they would speed up the conversation, because I didn't have time to listen to my loved ones. And I've seen this happen multiple times in high corporate, where it's very rare. Like, they say you get 2 weeks paid holidays, or 4 weeks paid holidays, and 2 weeks of sick leave. And a lot of people are stuck in that environment where they feel unwell, and they're still dragging themselves into the office every single day, and they literally are bringing home whatever is left of themselves. And I don't call that living, by the way. I call that just merely surviving. They're stuck in that cycle. So it's really about asking. And Lenka, I'm so glad that you shared like what was important to you, and it was about creating quality time to spend with your family and things like that. So thinking outside the box is, what is it that you want to create for yourself? What's the lifestyle you want to create? And I want to share, like, what is it that stops people from taking the plunge or the leap of faith and going into business for themselves? Fear is a huge one, by the way. Fear of failure, even fear of success is a big one. Sometimes people might fear who are they going to be if they're successful, or they don't know how to be successful, or perhaps you've heard that some limitations when you were growing up, like money is the root of all evil, or rich people are horrible people, or all these things that we grew up in our conditioning. And it's the fear of that success, or it's the fear of, I don't know who I would be as that person. Sometimes it's the fear of taking risks, like what if it fails, what if it doesn't work, or fear of what other people might say. So fear is huge, and it is something that does hold a lot of people back from actually taking the plunge. Time is also another thing that stops people, like limited time due to work or family commitments. And if that is something for you that's sort of playing out in the background as like, well, I can't really invest in this because I don't have time, then that's probably a reason why you would want to look at, creating something for yourself so you can create more time. Because I know a lot of people out there, especially if you've got families where both parents are working. I work with a lot of business owners who are parents, and one of the biggest things that they share is, I just want to be able to attend the school events for my children. I want to drop my kids off to school every day. And I work with 2 male business owners, and that's the highlight of their day, is dropping their children off at school every day. Like, they get to do that because they've created that for themselves in their business. And one of the ladies, that I was working with, she goes, I hate the job that I'm in, because every school holidays, I'm putting my kids into holiday camps and care because I have to go to work. And she wanted to spend that holiday time with her children. So it's really about, how do you create time, and how do you create a business model that provides that time for the important things for you. Sometimes it might be due to money, like lack of finances for a startup, or lack of financial knowledge, or even a fear of money. That's a real thing. People have a fear of money. And so this is what we help people is, we help people move through the fears, understand, how to create a business model based around the things that you want to achieve, like what is it that you want time for. With the money aspect as well, something that Lenka and I do, we work with business owners across the globe, and we help them identify, savvy business decisions, financially viable business decisions, how to save money, and where and when to, what are the things that they should be focusing on spending the money on in the business, and when's the right time to do it, and how do they minimize their overheads and their costs. And the how-to part is, a lot of people just don't even know where to start, or who to ask for help, or how to get the right roadmap or strategy. And I put a post out on my socials the other day, And I asked somebody a question like, have they ever thought of taking the leap of faith and going into a business for themselves? And a gentleman posted on there, he said, I've tried it a few times and it didn't work for me. And a lot of that, when you're trying things, a lot of it is asking ourselves the question, is looking back, because we, as business owners, we've got to be prepared to fail, right? Because nothing happens perfectly at the very beginning of anything. And if you take some of the bigger companies, for instance, like the Apple iPhone, they'll bring out version 1, like the iPhone version 1, and I think we're up to version 14 now or something. So what they do is they launch a model, then they take it to the market, they find all the bugs in the system, then they go back to the drawing board, they bring out the new and improved model where they've fixed all of the bugs. So it's a continuous learning and development process. So that's what we really excel at Startup Pro, is helping people overcome the fears, understanding where those fears come from, why they're there, and how we navigate them effectively, and also how to manage our time effectively, and also recognizing, what's a savvy financial decision in a business, and how do you plan your business for those things, and the roadmap to actually get there. So Startup Pro, which is our little baby for myself and Lenka, is we provide solutions for people that are looking to start a business. So we're dedicated to helping business owners by providing programs, tools, resources, and networks of experts to help people, anyone that wants to get started in creating either a side hustle or a new business venture. And we've got a variety of different tools and programs that we do. So we've got free resources available. We've got self-paced programs. For anyone who's not been in a business before, we've got our academy, our Startup Pro Academy, which is literally taking you through a step-by-step roadmap of actually where to get started and what are the unique steps in that. So how do you actually start a business? What is it that you really need to focus on? We go through all the different steps to actually help you, really have clarity around a lot of it before you even get started. We also run what we call accelerator boot camps. So they're group coaching programs. It's a 90-day accelerator boot camp. So it's a 3-month program that we take students through. We've got some students in our current one. Our next one's kicking off in July, I think it is. And that's where we take you through and we do it with you. So we actually go through the modules together. We give you homework tasking. So by the end of that accelerated bootcamp program, you've actually got a viable business model that you can take to market. And we also offer one-on-one or group coaching programs as well. So a little bit about Lenka. Lenka is the co-founder of Startup Pro. She's also the founder of a business called Starter Business LLC. Lenka's got 14 years business experience with helping people actually start businesses. So she's very savvy in this space. She knows her stuff. She knows exactly what she's doing. Lenka also runs multiple businesses and she's connected with experts right across the globe. Some of Lenka's unique skill sets is helping people develop business plans, understand their branding, their digital footprints, how to create, the home office space. So it's really effective for you. We work with legal teams across the globe in Australia and America to help people understand their legal liabilities and capacities as well. And really, I'm so grateful to have Lenka as part of this program with us on Startup Pro. And myself personally, I've got 20 years experience in business. I'm in my 13th business model at the moment. So I've run 13 different businesses in multiple industries. So I've run businesses in sign writing, in catering, in construction, in lots of different areas, as well as online coaching, business coaching, life coaching, fitness businesses. I help business owners right across the globe in multiple different industries. I work with cleaning companies. And so we really have seen, between myself and Lenka, with over 40 years business experience, we've actually seen multiple different industries, multiple different business owners, and we understand the fundamental or the foundational principles of what it takes to actually create a successful startup. Lenka, is there anything that you want to actually share in there?
Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction, Julie, and obviously the respect for each other. It's very obvious through all the work that we do together. What I would like to share is my personal experience that how I met Julie, because I think that's quite fascinating. So you already know the very first pivotal moment in my life when I decided that corporate career was not really for me, and that I had different view of my life, and I really wanted to achieve that. So I took that very difficult. I made that difficult decision, leave a corporate job. But now I was in the place where my family, they're all entrepreneurs, all the friends around me, entrepreneurs. I had some ideas, but I really needed to take a moment to see what's out there, what I could do, what was my passion really, what is it that I could do to be successful at. I'm an educator. I have a degree in education. And so when social media started becoming popular 14 years ago, my brother-in-law was starting a company, and I said to him, I want to help you. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to learn. I know I have the resources. I know I can take some courses, classes, and I will learn. And I did. And it really, I took classes on social media, website design and development. I utilized YouTube, which I used to call my best boyfriend, right? Somebody that can answer all the questions that I have. And that is exactly how I started my career. It just was the inner desire to do something different for myself. And I saw an opportunity and I saw a need. My brother-in-law had a need. When you start a company, you really don't have a big budget, right? You always have to be mindful of your budget. And so I pitched myself to him and he said, okay, let's do this together. Let's work together. And I hustled day and night, and my whatever I produced the first time around was not perfect, but it was good enough. And I hustled even more, just like Julie was talking about the iPhone. What a perfect analogy. I hustled more. We rebranded and launched a new website, million times better. In the meantime, I'm taking more courses. I'm educating myself, right? The education never stopped. And so I started dipping into mobile apps. And so I launched a company building mobile apps, because by then we're probably on year 7 and 8. I am already in it. And I know that I can always find someone smarter than me who can help me overcome a challenge that may face itself, may come in front of me. And I did. And so, what I love about the product that we're developing here is that we walked the talk. We were there during those times when I personally didn't think that I had what I needed to be successful. I decided to, at some point, I think that was right after COVID, to take NLP, because I had the work ethic. I had the desire to be successful. I didn't believe that I was capable. I didn't think that I deserved success. And it's such a powerful emotion. And it wasn't until after NLP when I really identified where some of those limiting beliefs were coming from. It was like peeling the onion, right? I had so many aha moments that helped me find clarity, focus, and really a completely new vision of myself, where I became more confident, more driven, more focused, and really ready to make it happen. And so that's what I think, when you partner with the right people, when you have an idea, you don't have to have the perfect idea, you don't have to have all the solutions, but if you have the right foundation and the right people in your life, the rest of it becomes really much easier. It's not easy, but it gets so much easier. And I think that's such an important part of starting a business, where you don't have to have everything right away, immediately ready, outlined for you on the silver platter. You'll get there as long as you keep moving, right? You just have to keep moving. So that was my journey. And thanks to you, Julie. Thanks for my NLP knowledge. Oh, absolutely incredible.
I love that you shared that. And for anybody who's listening who doesn't know what NLP is, it's called Neuro Linguistic Programming. And basically what that means, it's the programs that we run in our mind that operate our behaviors and our actions and our thoughts and our beliefs. So we literally have a program that runs 95% of the time unconsciously, which is producing what it is that we're doing. So if we are currently stuck in, a business or in a relationship, or if we're stuck financially, the reason why we're there is because of the program that's keeping us stuck there. And so, and I love that you shared this part of your story, because for me, Lenka, I do recall that NLP was a massive game changer for myself personally. Like when I went through my as a student, and it was about 7 or 8 years ago. I went through as a student and I learned NLP, again, neuro-linguistic programming, and I was able to change my mindset, my belief systems, my structures, my programs, to help me actually develop the mindset of that strong belief. And Stephanie, who's on the call with us as well, she also did her NLP training with us through our practitioner, master practitioner. And Stephanie had a very similar story of yours, is, that really reinforced her belief system. So she totally went back and rebranded her entire business. And the confidence is just, it's such a difference. You can see the difference a mile away. She has so much belief and trust in herself that she knows wholeheartedly that it's going to work. And it really reflects in everything that she's doing. She said, oh my goodness, I cannot believe the results I'm having. I was doing the same thing a couple of years ago and not getting results. And now, I'm getting traction, I'm getting results. And it's because of the operating system. And John, who's on the call with us, is also going to be in our NLP training next week as well. So I'm so super excited because the one thing I will say is our mindset is everything. Everything that we do, it's the fears, it's the doubts, it's the limitations, it's the self-talk, it's the resourcefulness. Like, all of that comes from, how we are operating at our core. And so having the mindset to really help us thrive in, making decisions for our financial future, even our dreams. And, it's so funny when we talk about having a dream. What usually happens for most people is they have this big idea, then the fear kicks in, and then they sort of like, okay, reel it back into their reality, and their current reality is based on their current belief system. Put your hand up if that happened to you when you were dreaming just a moment ago, right? It's the program that's running behind that's going to pull you back to reality. It's like, come on, that's not possible, right? But in actual fact, if we change the operating system at the core, that definitely helps. So coming back to what we do at Startup Pro is basically we help people identify the actual roadmap. Now, this is a very strategically crafted roadmap that Lenka and I have put together, with our 40 years of business experience and with our hands-on experience in the field of business and working with business owners right across the globe. So we've crafted our program based on this. And it's basically a roadmap to any startup success. So our program takes you through all of these different modules. It teaches you how to do a proper market analysis. So some people have great ideas, but without doing the proper research and the market analysis, sometimes you can take an idea to market, lose lots of time, money, and investments, and then have it absolutely flop because you didn't do the research in the beginning. So it's a very crucial step in the process, and we walk you through how to do it very strategically. So it just helps bring into your awareness the things that possibly you weren't thinking of or that you hadn't considered. That might be the difference that makes the difference in a successful business or not. We help you gain clarity around your purpose, understanding your why. We do a big session where we help reverse engineer a business plan for you, because the last thing you want to do, being a business can, a lot of people go into business, they think, oh my gosh, I'm going to escape the 9 to 5, and then they end up working 24/7, right? But we want to understand, like, what is it that you actually want to create, and how do we reverse engineer that? Knowing your purpose, what's most important to you. Creating a unique brand is also something. It's like, what does your product or program or service or business actually speak to the audience, and getting super clear on who is your ideal target market. How do you speak to them really effectively and efficiently? How does your brand voice land with those people? We really help you gain clarity on lots of different areas. There's one thing that, I will say about this. Clarity is key in anything that we're doing. If the unconscious mind needs clear orders and directions to follow, and most people will procrastinate or not hit a target, and all that really is that the unconscious mind doesn't have clear direction to follow, and it's almost impossible to kick a goal when you don't know where the goalposts are. So gaining clarity is a super crucial piece in there. Having a solid business plan, this is where we help you break down the steps. So a lot of people think of an idea of business, it becomes so overwhelming because they're like, where do I even start? So we help you create a solid business plan of knowing, what is the bigger picture? What are the milestones to get there? How do you break down the steps effectively so you can actually achieve the target? We help you discover your confidence. That's a big piece in any business, is, finding your confidence, understanding what are your strengths, your talents, and identifying also your weaknesses and how do you navigate those really effectively. We help you craft a digital footprint. Nowadays, we work in an online space. We've got access to the World Wide Web. How do people find you? What is your digital footprint? How are you showing up, and how are people getting to know where you are and who you are and what you do? We also help you develop a marketing mindset. So the way you speak and share your product or service with somebody is a really crucial piece, and we help you understand the psychology of your audience, so your program or your product actually speaks to them, and the message is crafted in a way that lands really clearly for them. And we also run through legal liability. So how do you protect yourself legally? How do you know what legal requirements are set up for your particular type of industry or your business model? We also teach you about how to align the values of your own personal values, but also your business values. And so you're operating from a place of integrity at all times as well. How to set up your home office or your workspace so you can work most efficiently, and how do you develop habits for success. So one thing about working for yourself is you get to work for yourself. When you work for a boss, they tell you what time to start and what time to finish and what tasks you need to do. And when you work for yourself, sometimes that can get a little bit lost in translation. So we teach you how to develop those habits for success, so you're actually hitting targets, knowing what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what are the outcomes and the achievable steps. So so this is what we teach through our academy. There's multiple ways that you can, work with Lenka and myself. Like I mentioned, we've got the, free resources, self-paced programs, accelerator boot camps, all of the good things. So we also offer, as part of our program and our academy, is continuous education. You get training from international business coaches. We're constantly doing webinars, offering checklists, other business tools and resources. So we're continuously adding value. We also have special guest speakers and trusted providers that come in. So like I mentioned, we've got legal experts that come in and do different things for us. We bring different experts in different areas. So things that we're not trained in, or, Link and I are not, we're not lawyers or solicitors. So we bring experts from those industries in to share with you. We offer exclusive member deals and partner discounts and things like that. We've got a world-class community of collaborators. We've got sales experts. We've got people, in different industries and niches. So sometimes it's even having the network of experts so you can leverage. It's like, sitting on the shoulders of giants and not having to reinvent the wheel. And a lot of people that, that fail in business, it's just that they didn't have the right strategy or roadmap to get there, but they also didn't have the right support system. And so something that's super crucial for anybody that's going into business is being mindful of where you're getting your advice from. So lots of people might ask their auntie or their cousins or their mom and dad or their friends and family for advice. Yet a lot of those people may not be qualified to give you actual sound advice. So it's important that you are getting advice from the right people who've got the experience and the qualifications to actually share with you the right information. So that's one of the biggest things about being in business for yourself is how do you find these communities of these people, and how do you get it, rather than having to pay through the nose to go and speak to a legal expert or to go and speak to this particular type of person, you can get access to it all within our community. And you get direct access to myself and Lenka as the coaches, 24/7 support. So this is what we include in our academies. It's over $10,000 worth of value. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can get access to our academy. So our boot camp, which is it's a 3-month accelerator program. Our next cohort is kicking off on June the 10th for the US audience, June the 11th for Australia. We normally offer it at $2,000. We've got a very special deal for just $1,497. That's where you get weekly live Zoom calls with myself, with Lenka. You get access to the entire business suite, all of the modules. You get we've got it on the beautiful Lenka has done up a beautiful mobile app platform for us, so you actually get access to all of the modules on your mobile device. So it's super handy. You can go through the workbooks, the modules, plus you get weekly live access with us. And we actually do the tasking together, so you walk away with having clarity around a proper business. We've also got weekly affordable payment plans available as well for those as well. Now, if you're not interested in doing it together with us and you're more of a self-paced person, you can actually get access to the academy for $149 US, which is I don't think you can find this anywhere else. So basically, you get access to the entire mobile app platform. You can go through the modules by yourself. Plus, you get access to our community where you've got, access to the coaches all the time. You get access to the, our community, and if you ever need help, we're obviously there to support you as well. So there's multiple ways that you can join in and find out more. If you're interested in speaking to our team or getting access to any free resources, things like that, simply reach out to myself or Lenka, or you can download the Startup Pro mobile app. I'll share the next slide. We've got a couple of freebies in there if you just want to sort of have a bit of a look and you're curious. You can simply download the app from the app stores. So what we'll do is we'll put it at wherever you're watching the live. We'll make sure that we give you direct access. So it's on the Google and the Apple Play stores. You can download the app, and there's some free resources in there. There's a bit of a roadmap of how to start a business. There's a checklist there, how to create a purpose-driven business. And then there's obviously ways that you can get in contact with us through the app as well. So I hope that was super helpful. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to myself or Lenka. We want to help as many people as possible to really, break free of the cycle, break free of, feeling stuck. We don't want to see people struggling. We don't want to see people in financial hardships. We don't want to see people out there, struggling to pay the bills, worrying about, their health, or worrying about, paying for their children's braces and all the little things, or, being under, stress when, a big bill comes in, or if a car breaks down and then all of a sudden that, throws your life out of order. There's enough people out there struggling in the world, and it doesn't need to be like that. Having a side hustle or a business really can help you create freedom for yourself. And I highly encourage everyone to, look into it, consider it, think about it, imagine what life is like with more purpose and more flexibility and freedom. So I hope that you all got something out of today's presentation. If you do have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to myself or Lenka anytime. We're here to support you. Even if you just want to jump on a call, have any questions, we can certainly hook you up and get in contact. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Have an amazing day ahead. We will drop the links in there. There is, if you're on the Zoom, Lenka has just dropped a link in there where you can actually find out more information about the bootcamp. There's also a link in there where you can book in a direct call to have a chat with us as well. And there's a couple of links in there where you can just get started straight away. So if you're watching the live on Facebook, we'll make sure we drop that link in there for you also. And if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out.
John, Stephanie, do you guys have any questions right now? Anything that you would like to ask? Good. Okay.
No, thank you, Lenka. All good at the moment, but great presentation. It looks like a really great package you guys have put together.
Thank you, thank you. And I am so thrilled for you. You have an amazing time.
It was great. Thank you both. It just made me realize what I still need to do. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Wishing you all a wonderful day ahead. And I'm going to stop the live recording, the live stream on Facebook. So if anyone's watching the live, please feel free to reach out if you've got any questions as well.